welcome everyone to the Mount Weekly Wrap-Up Show. This week's episode, we have a number of sports for you throughout, including boys basketball, boys hockey, boys and girls indoor track, along with a sit-down with former Mount student Ian Viscera as he talks about some of his recent athletic internships. Our first segment tonight, we'll take a look at our boys basketball team in their matchup against St. Patrick's Academy. Here's to the highlights.
Every week on the dance team, a member of the team passes off a spirit stick to another member who exemplifies sportsmanship, and this really helps encourage girls to have positive attitudes at practice and at competitions.
We had a scrimmage a few weeks ago where a senior on the other team was patronizing a sophomore on our team. And throughout the whole game, they were talking to each other, but at the end of the game, they shook hands.
Today we are joined by class of 2015 Mount St. Charles graduate Ian Becerra. Ian, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Coach. How you doing?
Very good. Ian currently is a senior at Stonehill College and has been involved in many different internships. Ian, what were some of the internships that you've been involved with over these past couple of years?
So this past summer I worked for the Wareham Gatemen in the Cape Cod Baseball League, and for them I was a beat writer for the team. So just cover the team like you would for any big league team, just day in, day out, go down there, write game recaps, game previews, and try and do some other feature stories. So that was really cool to be around a lot of good players who are going to be in the big leagues someday. It's going to take a little bit of time for them to get there, but it was really, really cool to see some of the great talent, and especially doing it in Massachusetts, right down the street basically. It was really cool to do that. So I did that this past summer, and now I'm also working for the Boston Globe, doing some work as a freelance writer. So I've been covering some high school sports games down in the South Shore and the Boston area. So this past fall I was doing a lot of football, so I did a couple coverages for that, and then a couple cross-country races as well. So it's cool to go and do that and kind of see your name like in the newspaper online, so that's pretty exciting. And then lastly, now what I'm up to is I'm over working at WEEI as an intern for the new Mutt and Callahan show, so morning 6 to 10. So nice and early, but it's been very fun and rewarding. I've been doing a lot of audio cutting, so basically any news clips that they drop into the show, not necessarily the sound bites that are 1 to 2 seconds, but more of the longer clips that they play in the show and then react to. So I've been getting those online, and then as well as preparing like each individual hour of the show so they can upload it to online for afterwards.
Excellent. What are your plans after graduation from Stonehill this coming spring?
Not too sure, honestly. We'll see where the job market takes me, but it would just be cool to be involved in sports in some capacity. I always say I don't want to do real people stuff, so I like to stay on the sports side of things. So hopefully, if I'm in that capacity in some form, I think I'll be doing just fine.
The Mount St. Charles boys basketball program was lucky to have Ian Becerra as its captain during his senior year. Going back to Mount St. Charles and your time at Mount, what would you say helped you the most to where you are now, especially with your college experience?
I'd say in terms of in the classroom, I think it would just be the work ethic, being able to take a lot of honors and AP classes. Here it's definitely challenging, and even just the regular classes here, college prep, it's still challenging, and it's definitely a great segue for once you actually get into college. It prepares you very well. because I go to college now and it's a lot of work and it's a little bit different in how the classroom is set up and the structure and everything. But for the most part, it's kind of using those same kind of values that you learned here at Mount and then just bringing it over to college, and it translates very nicely. And then, sports-wise, everything you learn kind of, playing sports, on the basketball court, kind of those life lessons, they're very important. Obviously, the wins and losses while you're there, they seem important, but it's everything that you can kind of take away after. It's just as important as well.
Excellent. Well, thank you again, Ian, for your time. We really appreciate you stopping in. And now we are going to be moving on to our next segment. Concludes this week's episode. Next week we'll be on vacation during our Christmas break, and we'll pick up again after the new year. Thank you for your time and have a good night.